Josh Zeitz was a young child when his mother left him.
She was a drug addict and just neglectful and always on drugs and things. I don't remember her ever abusing us physically. Whether she did or not, I don't know, but I do know that it was the whole neglecting, and then obviously that is abusive.
He never knew his father.
I only remember one guy that he had a motorcycle, and I went out and burnt my leg on his motorcycle one day, but I don't really remember any dads around.
Josh was taken to an institution for abused and neglected children.
I didn't like it because it was scary. It was like a children's factory. I mean, the adults would walk the hallways and they talk to you and like, who are these people? And so it was a lot of confusion because these adults are like, oh, we care about you, but you really didn't get that sense of caring from them. It was more just a dry, like, okay, this is what we do. This is the next kid. And so I just kind of never felt loved.
From the Guardian home, he went from one foster home to another.
I didn't feel like a part of the family. I felt like an outcast, basically, like on the fringes. Like they loved you just enough, but you never really felt like it was not mom and dad.
Then at 7 years old, Josh was adopted.
They say, oh, I love you, but I don't know what love means. I've never seen a real family. I've never seen what that looks like. I don't ever remember feeling loved, getting hugged, anything like that. So any kind of adult or authority figure in my life, I certainly had no grounds to stand on to say, this is healthy or this is unhealthy. I just didn't trust them. I don't trust people at all.
As Josh became a teenager, those feelings of distrust and isolation soon turned into anger and resentment.
I was mad and angry at the world because I had dealt with things in my past, and I felt like when I became a teenager, I was already charged with hormones. I was already charged as a teenager, and I just wasn't feeling like I had the love and appreciation that I needed. And so I think for me, the biggest thing I did was I used my adoptive mom as a scapegoat. And so as much, every time she would try to come at me and love me, I would hate her the more.
He would go to church with his adoptive parents, but it was just a formality.
And we'd all have fun, and it was a great time. But spiritually, I would never say that there was anything too spiritual talked about. It was never anything really about Jesus. It was more like just the Pat Sunday school stuff, Father Abraham, and stuff like that.
Still searching for a sense of family and belonging to something, Josh gravitated toward his friends. He started drinking and smoking pot.
And they started talking to me about sexual things and pornography and a lot of things that you could do as far as that. And so from that time on, I went home and I started experimenting. The things that I was hearing at school, I started doing it at home.
When his adoptive parents got divorced, Josh blamed his mother and her God.
My mom was always teaching and preaching this God thing at me, and I didn't like that. It was something I was angry about. And so when she and my dad got divorced, it was kind of like an affirmation in me. And I would say, God's not real. See, this whole Jesus thing, this whole God thing, it's not real.
Josh started stealing so he could buy drugs.
If I wasn't high, I wasn't happy. That's all I did was try to get high. I mean, I would steal change. I would steal money from my dad. I would steal money from my grandparents. I would steal money from anybody I could. I would do anything I could just to stay high because that's all I wanted to do, was just escape from reality.
By 19, he was arrested 5 times for burglary. In jail for multiple felonies, Josh found a book.
And I started reading about a man who had given his life to Jesus. And this man was hooked on drugs. He was robbing people. And I didn't see him. I saw myself on the pages. And suddenly, it was like, whew, Jesus was in my cell with me. And he was saying, do you want to receive this love? Do you want this forgiveness? And immediately, it was like a movie being played out in my mind. I was seeing all these things I had done. And for the first time in my life, it was my fault. I had put myself in this place. And yet God loved me still. And he was giving me an opportunity to accept this forgiveness, this love, fill this void that I've been trying to fill my whole life. Jesus was there to fill it. And I said, yes. And I started shaking and crying. And it was like I was 1,000 pounds lighter. I remember shortly after looking in the mirror and I saw joy and light in my eyes. I had never seen this before. I felt like, whoo. I mean, I'm telling you, pornography addiction was gone. I had no desire for it. Cussing, gone. Anger, gone. Absolute 100% radical overnight transformation. Jesus was my Lord.
Josh met and married Mitzi in 2003, and they started their own family. Today they have 3 children, Mariah, Isaiah, and Josiah.
What really drew me to him wasn't just that he was a Christian, it was his deep love for Jesus and the Word of God. I received Jesus at 17, and I did not know my Bible like he did. And I was like, this guy is going somewhere, and I want to be a part of it.
I'm sitting here today, and I have a family. I've got kids that love Jesus. I've got a wife who loves me. I've got a family. The one thing that I wanted my whole life, my life has been a story of restoration, of redemption. What was stolen from me in my childhood, God has brought it back.